Welcome, everyone, to Indianapolis, Indiana. It's the home of the Pacers, where we will be broadcasting today's action live. Well, the holidays always bring us some incredible NBA action. It's certainly what we have in store for us today. Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Harlan with partners Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. A quick check now for starting five for both teams. And, guys, taking a look at Paul George, what will we see from him?
Well, he's an exciting young player. Almost 6'10", great athleticism, length, dynamic finisher at the rim, and he can guard multiple positions defensively.
And you know what, Steve? His growth defensively has been just as impressive. He uses that length to great advantage, contesting shots and coming away with deflections and steals.
You look at the Clippers. They've really been on a roll. They've gone 5-1 in their last 6 games.
Yeah, they're going to be hoping things go better for them tonight than they did last night. The last thing you want to do is lose back-to-back games in a span of 48 hours. That can put you in a tailspin.
Yeah, it can sometimes. I mean, there's nothing worse than an instant losing streak. And if you happen to have that happen in back-to-back situations, it can sap your momentum a bit.
Just 4 to shoot. And here's Hill for 3. It's hauled in by the Clippers. Last time they met was in Los Angeles.
Well, I tell you what, the Clippers playing in the Western Conference knew they'd have to take care of business facing Eastern Conference opponents, and they did. 21-9 against the East, and a bunch of highlight reel plays along the way.
Moments ago, our Doris Burke had a chance to catch up with the coach, Frank Vogel. Doris?
Guys, no question, his focus in preparing for this game is trying to find a way to overcome a very solid defensive unit. He said it won't be easy, but at the same time, this is why we play the game, to go up against great competition and see where we stand when the final buzzer sounds. Kevin, we will see as well.
Thanks for the report, Doris. Guys, what do you do to spread this defense out?
Well, I think you've got to come at them with a variety of offensive looks. Try to keep them guessing, keep their rotations a little bit off rhythm.
As usual, Steve, you're all over it. You've got to keep switching things up on them. So,
look out!
Wow.
Nasty, absolutely filthy.
And the building is stunned, partner. He dug deep into his bag of tricks there.
I hope he keeps that one handy. I want to see that again.
Well, it's not often you find a player like Paul George who, as tall as he is, can play two guard. But when you do, you're going to see some really big numbers in rebounding from him. And that's what George does. He wants to average double-digit rebounds.
And the Pacers with possession here. They're coming off that win against the Nets.
And, Kevin, they played such terrific defense in that game. It took a lot of pressure off them at the other end of the court.
Yeah, and you can't just pick 1 or 2 players out who stood out defensively. There was plenty of credit to go around.
Hibbert against Dudley. Kicks it out to Paul. From deep. Paul can't get that one to fall. And Clark, you mentioned the height of Paul George. 6'8" when he was drafted. He actually grew to 6'10" in his rookie season, Steve. So he's a young guy that's continuing to grow both on the floor and physically.
Yeah, he may be 7'2" by his 4th year. I'll tell you, though, he gives you power forward size and rebounding with guard skills. It's easy to see why the Pacers are so excited about it.
Does he remind you of anybody in particular?
A bit like Scottie Pippen, early in his career. Maybe not quite as strong as Scottie, but a similar skill set. Interesting.
They are really doing a nice job establishing a presence inside early.
It's going to open things up for them on the perimeter going forward, Clark.
Paul kicks to Crawford. And there's the feed to Griffin. Gets to the rim for 2 with the D all over him.
There they go, finally able to drop one in on their 4th try.
The drive by Hill. That's good. Hill's got his 2nd bucket.
Boy, that was impressive, Clark. He did not hesitate to take the ball right up against the bigger defender.
Boy, I like that aggressive mindset there, Steve.
Got that one up quick.
I like the offensive awareness to exploit that lack of coverage on that play.
Back to Granger. From past the arc. No luck.
Boy, they're fortunate. Defense was taking a big chance leaving him that wide open behind the arc. And, you know, you talk about Frank Vogel, guys, and the Pacers. It seemed he won over his roster from the moment he took over. He placed a lot of confidence and trust in his players, and most importantly, brought a breath of positivity and positive energy to that locker room and to that team.
Here's what the Clippers are going with right now. Hollins is checked in, and Matt Barnes is subbed in for Blake Griffin. There's the dish to Collison. Kicks it to Barnes. Crawford outside. He dishes it to Collison. No good with the triple. And back to Vogel, he really helped instill the identity of this Pacers team of toughness, and defense, and Steve, that willingness to battle.
Yeah, it's a perfect fit with their personnel. The way he motivates this team to defend and play with that edge. I just love this group, the Pacers team, the talent, along with Frank Vogel. Just a really nice fit.
The inside shot, no good from Hollins.
That was not pretty there. You got to make that one, but maybe that's not his range.
Granger from outside. Can't hit. And it's the Clippers taking it the other way. They're moving on after the tough loss they took at the hands of the Warriors.
Well, Clark, they really shot terribly from downtown in that one and eventually paid the price for it.
They sure did. I mean, sometimes you can make up for poor three-point shooting with a strong inside game, but theirs wasn't quite strong enough.
And pushing it up, here's Los Angeles. Dudley, no luck.
Well contested shot, and they did an excellent job of not fouling the shooter.
Defense is about effort and commitment and discipline. He's a good defender because of those things.
Willie Green's checked in for the Clippers. 2-for-1 opportunity here if they want it.
That's what I'd do. Make sure you get a couple of shots here to close this quarter.
He kicks it to Hollins. West is there. Right block shot. And that one's good, Hollins. 24 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Hill kicks to George. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
The offense just getting right to the rim, but at least they saved the layup with the foul.
That's old school basketball rules. I mean, at the end of the day, no easy layups. Earn it from the line.
And George drops them both.
You know, he's as close to a sure thing as you can possibly have when he steps to the line.
Collison against Hill. A 3 from Barnes. No good. It'll count. And that's not going to go. And that concludes the first quarter of play. Indiana. And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. And when you consider how the Pacers are doing, Steve and Clark, what do you think?
Yeah, this team has done a nice job on the glass. I think that's how they've built this lead. They've been very physical, really established a presence in the paint.
Well, they've chased down those balls. As soon as they've hit the iron, they've been chasing them down. Been a solid effort by them.
And now brought to you by Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset our lineups. Taking a look at Los Angeles. Chris Paul and Willie Green are manning the backcourt. Matt Barnes is out there with Ryan Hollins. And it's Dudley in at the 3 slot. Green kicks to Hollins. He's against Hibbert with the shot. And the foul goes on Roy Hibbert. That is his first foul of the game.
Well, he tried to step in and cut him off, but just not quick enough.
And we have the benefit of replay, but I think they got that one right, which is the case most times, even though fans don't think so.
And it's Paul missing.
You know, a lot has been said about the Pacers and their defense, but in addition to them being great with their positioning and skill, they're one of the toughest and most rugged teams to deal with, both mentally and physically. They really pride themselves on playing smash-mouth basketball, and don't hesitate to get into your airspace and get in your face.
And let's now go to the sideline. We'll catch up here with Doris Burke. Doris?
Gentlemen, Roy Hibbert is pretty good friends with Tim Duncan. Hibbert recalls when they met. He said, I met him when I was a kid during the 2001 NBA All-Star Game in D.C., and he actually remembers that moment. We share scouting reports on other teams. It's just a friendship. I learn from him, and you know, he's the best. So I don't know if he picks up anything from me, but I definitely learn from him. Kevin, a great tutor for the young Hibbert.
Hard to think of a better mentor for Roy than the great Tim Duncan. Thanks, Doris.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
Guys, this is just too close in the game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
With a break in the action, let's go to the 2K leaderboard. These squads have been lights out this month. Fourth, the Clippers.
I just love the flow with which they've played recently. I mean, this is a dominant team offensively because of that rhythm and pace.
And Clark, back to what you said, the Pacers did get in a few games last year where tempers flared and players got in each other's faces. But, you know, Steve, you look back at all the great defensive teams in NBA history, and not a lot of them were a group of amicable guys.
It's true. I mean, this was a great defense, and sometimes you have to ruffle feathers and get in people's faces in terms of being tough and gritty defensively. And I think the Pacers understood that.
Pacers leading by 13. Hill kicks to George. Oh, went in there and tried to power it down, but through contact, he'll head to the line.
Well, you look at Paul George, my man, PG-24, the young swingman out of Fresno State. Boy, he had a terrific year last season, was the most improved player last season, and a first-time NBA All-Star. You consider how young he is, just turned 23. And he's got the potential to make plenty more All-Star games, and I think he could ultimately be a Defensive Player of the Year at some time in his career.
Hill with it. Started now by Barnes. The shot by George, no good. Clippers trailed by 15. Here's Paul. Griffin dishes to Paul. And Hill with the block. Knocked loose. It's stolen by Green. Paul kicks to Jordan. Back to Paul. And Hibbert with the block. Hill left side. And Chris Paul picks up the foul. That is his first foul of the game. And for Paul George, the 10th pick back in 2010. What a terrific find for the Pacers.
Well, he was already a good player, but I think the injury to Danny Granger last season created the opportunity for George to really emerge as an all-star. And that's exactly what he did. Dangerous inside and out, excellent defensive player, has a chance to be really special. And while we have a chance, let's check out some stats for Paul George. He was 6th in scoring, 7th in steals. And, you know, when he gets to the free throw line, he makes the most of it. He's ranked in the top 20 in free throw percentage.
And you don't become a top 10 scorer, Steve, without a variety of offensive moves and a whole bunch of tricks in your bag. So he makes for wonderful highlights the way he can score.
And a big-time jam right there.
Forget about finesse and agility. This big fella's all about power and force.
Los Angeles calls timeout.
One of the things that really jumps out at you about the Clippers is their depth. Really impressive. I mean, they've surrounded their stars with a bench that includes Jamal Crawford, who was 2nd in the voting for 6th Man of the Year. They've got a nice second unit.
Now we get a chance to check out the standings out west. Already we're in December. Look at Oklahoma City. And, of course, Indiana. They're tied right now. Clippers trailed by 17. And we talk about the bench for the Clippers last season. Also guys like Matt Barnes and Lamar Odom. Steve, some good defensive tenacity there, too.
Yeah, they had an edge. Barnes really gave them some toughness and some grit. I thought Crawford's shooting gave them some balance where they had a good offense to go with good defense. And then Bledsoe slashing. They were a lot of fun to watch.
Let's look at the energy stats, how the hustle game has been going for the Pacers.
Well, I think the defensive aggressiveness on display here has caught them off guard, playing airtight defense and coming up with the steal.
And we're also seeing a lot of fast break groups, so this team doing a nice job getting easy points.
Now let's send it to Doris from the sideline.
Hey, Kevin. Well, for the Los Angeles Clippers, the pieces seem to be coming together for a deep run. It all started with the acquisition of Coach Doc Rivers, who was also given a lead role in basketball decision-making. Follow that up with the trade for J.J. Redick and Jared Dudley. That gives the team great shooting on the wings. And both players expressed their excitement to play for the Clips. Guys, this once downtrodden franchise has become a destination.
Winning situation, Doris. Thanks.
Well, one of the toughest commodities to find in this league, Kevin, is a great point guard, not only on the floor, but off the floor. Chris Paul is a model leader. He's a guy who is probably as talented as any point guard in the league, but his leadership qualities, I think, put him over the top.
It isn't just the inspiration off the court or making big-time baskets. I mean, the way he passes is infectious to his team. I mean, it's contagious, and it usually ends up permeating the whole team. Same goes for his defense. I mean, he'll come up with that big steal and can completely change the momentum with the kind of plays he can make at both ends of the floor.
Hill passes to Granger. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot. For Indiana, they have looked good at the line tonight. They're perfect in 4 attempts. And he makes the first.
When Danny Granger was out with injury last season, he saw that the Pacers team had become really Paul George's and Roy Hibbert's team as they became the new faces. While some would throw a fit about it, Granger said he was proud of them and happy to take a lesser role. He just wants to get back out there.
Crawford dishes to Barnes. A three-pointer is right on target.
Boy, he found the perfect spot behind the arc there. Big gap in the defense.
Hill kicks to George. Granger outside. And when Granger is healthy, Steve, he's certainly a great player.
Well, you love his versatility, his ability to play both ends of the floor. A tough defender who can guard multiple positions. Offensively, he can put it on the floor, get to the rim, and he's got three-point range. They're really an excellent all-around player.
Jared Dudley's checked in for Los Angeles. Collison comes in for Chris Paul. That'll be a 5-second call. Well, a break on the floor, so let's talk about the league's small forwards, shall we, for a second, and see which of them have led the league in free throw shooting this season. Second is Paul George.
Well, there are some smooth strokes among that group, guys. What else can you say?
As a coach, you want your small forwards to be aggressive in getting to the basket. I mean, that's a must. And with these players, whether they draw the foul or get a layup out of it, it's a win-win.
And stolen by Hibbert. And now here's George, the fast break opportunity. Gets it to go. George has got 10 points now just in this quarter.
He's created some good opportunities for himself and made the most of them.
The offensive rebound. Crawford right side. Another shot. Here's Jordan.
And another foul would give him 3 before the half, something to keep our eyes on. He's a grinder. Love what he does under the offensive boards, really bringing energy and life to his team.
DeAndre Jordan last year led the league in field goal percentage at 64%, but that was a percentage that was better than his free throw percentage. You want to get that flip, and hopefully Jordan will be able to do that. Awesome defense. I mean, he'll hit those unless you're right in his grill.
Here's Collison. Blessed with some nice D.
Some rugged defense there against one of the stronger finishers in the game.
Scooped up. And through the first half, a pretty lopsided affair. Now it's been a one-sided affair so far through the first 2 quarters, but there's plenty of time to mount a comeback. What a game we're seeing from Paul George.
Well, in terms of his points in the first half, I mean, that's pretty much what we've come to expect out of him.
Yeah, that's an open book on all you need to know about what talent he has. I'll bet he adds a lot more to that tally in the second half.
Hill passes to George. It's back to Hill. Granger outside. Another miss by Granger.
Indiana had perhaps the toughest defense in the league. They just didn't have any weaknesses defensively. If you attacked them inside, they were able to challenge you at the rim. If you tried to shoot over them, they were challenging you with their length on the perimeter. And they didn't back down. So it's not a surprise they were near the top in every defensive category.
Down low, West and Hibbert. George and Granger on the perimeter. And it's Hill in at the point. So that's the group out there for Indiana. The Clippers shooting a terrible 27% from the floor. Boy, an off night for them to say the least. Jordan covered by Hibbert. Jordan inside. He's against Hibbert. And you know that's going to be goaltending, guys.
So that did not go over very well.
And the foul called on Jamal Crawford. That's foul number 2 for him.
Yeah, close, but I didn't think he got on balance quickly enough.
And it's hard to draw charges as quick as players are at this level. That's not an easy bit of work there.
Kicks it out to Granger. Buries it from three-point range. Granger's got 11 points. And Clark, the numbers back up what you were saying about the Pacers. A lot of stat heads will look at opponents' effective field goal percentage as a measuring stick for defense. And the Pacers, Steve, were the best in the league at that.
Well, they passed the eye test, that's for sure, Kevin. I mean, they challenge every shot. They get out to the three-point line. They block shots at the rim. There's a reason this team is so good at the defensive end.
Pass to George. Feeds to West. And it's thrown down hard with both hands.
The defense just couldn't recover in time.
Yeah, the D pretty much went brain neutral on that one, Clark. Wouldn't
Yes,
you?
sir. I like that phrase.
Yeah, I don't use that phrase very often, but to me, that's what happened. He shifted the brain into neutral.
Yes, he did.
That was embarrassing.
And a chance here to see where the Clippers sit in the NBA statistically right now. 4th in assists, 5th in scoring. And they are in the top 10 in field goal percentage. This is a team that shows excellent discipline at the offensive end.
And let's go back to the assist, Clark, because to me, those numbers are a sign of how cohesively they've played together as a unit. This is an unselfish squad. They play hard. They've got a good plan of attack. They're extremely well coached. And as a result, they rack up those assist numbers.
The Clippers shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
The difference between being a dominant or a good team and mediocrity is the ability to win on the road. The Clippers secured their spot as one of the NBA's elite teams last season because they showed the ability to get it done on the road.
Granger from outside. And Indiana, another 3.
I like the way they've played here in the first half. Just an intelligent floor game, getting good shots.
Numbers certainly back that up. They're shooting a much better percentage.
Paul kicks to Griffin. West is there. Griffin inside, defended by West. Here's Jordan. And the rebound paying off as they pick up 2 on the second chance bucket right there.
Well, most of all, I just love the work he puts in on the offensive glass. So many of his points come on putbacks just because of sheer hustle.
And something else that comes to mind with him is how many guys he's given the poster treatment to. I mean, flying high to power one down while the defender stands there looking for mercy.
And it's Paul penetrating. Smooth as silk on the finger roll. Paul's got 4 points this quarter. And the Clippers with one of the better road records in the Western Conference last year, going 24-17. Steve actually tied for the second most road wins in the West, only behind the Thunder.
And believe it or not, Kevin, it's the first time the Clippers franchise has ever had a winning record on the road. Actually, I do believe that when you think back to Clipper history. But I'll tell you what, it's a team on the rise and a very interesting club to watch.
Catching up on the changes for the Clippers. Hollins is checked in, and it's Collison in for Jamal Crawford. Hill kicks to George. Lets it fly, and it's the Clippers with the rebound. Griffin's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for Chris Paul.
Last year, Blake's stats were down, but I thought his impact on the floor was about the same. With that said, in order for him to really take the next step, he's got to be able to knock down the perimeter shot with consistency.
And then George with the jam. Putting on a show for these people.
I cannot believe he pulled that one out in the course of an actual game. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man. Might as well flaunt it if you've got it, Clark.
Here's Hill. He's got 13. Tries to keep it alive. And out of bounds as the Clippers gain possession. And take a look at this. Every team loves to have guys like these. Big men who can pass like guards. These are their assist totals on the season. Fourth, Blake Griffin.
And these are some of the most complete players in the NBA. They're not just traditional score and rebound big men. They can beat you with their passing, too.
Yeah, that's the element of their game that puts them in a different category, a special category among low post players. I mean, they've got court vision. They see things. They anticipate. And they're much better at that than their peers.
Hill dishes to George. Crawford with the steal. It's stolen by Hill. Now here's Hill, the fast break opportunity. Granger outside. The three-pointer no good.
If he can improve on what's been a shaky day for him thus far, they could stretch this lead out.
Dudley the pass to Hollins. Collison kicks to Hollins. It's rebounded by Indiana. George has got 5 rebounds tonight.
And the rebounding numbers don't actually tell the whole story. I mean, they're barely ahead in that category, but when they've needed them, they've gotten them. They've really battled. Oh, man, that was unreal.
Mark it up.
Wow, we're going to remember that one for a while.
I know I will, Kevin. That was special.
Oh, man, that was a circus dunk.
Hill with it, and Crawford picks him up defensively. And George kicks to Hill. Second shot opportunity. West gets the bucket. West has got 4 this quarter.
Giving them an opportunity at second chance points with some hard work on the glass there.
Boy, he's got a little extra bounce in his step today, fella.
Definitely a surge of energy out of him there.
Yeah, playing with a lot of confidence.
Got a piece of it. And that's out of bounds. Indiana will retain possession. Los Angeles making a switch here. Paul's checked in. We've got 22 seconds left in the third quarter. Back to Hibbert. And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, the referee's all over that one.
No doubt about it. Clearly a foul. Nothing to argue about there.
Good on the second free throw. And here is Los Angeles now. It's Crawford with the drive. Pass to Hollins. Dishes it to Dudley. The 3. No good on the buzzer beater. And as we conclude the third quarter, pretty much a blowout. And we welcome you back to the NBA here on 2K Sports. Just tuning in, this is Kevin Harlan alongside Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. And we're ready to get going once more. The players having a chance to have a short break and get some rest themselves and get refueled and hydrated with some Gatorade. More terrific basketball in store for us tonight. And guys, what do you think about the hustle stats here for Indiana?
Well, it's been an outstanding game for them in the open court. Their fast break points really stand out.
And the other thing they're doing is they're forcing turnovers and then converting those miscues into points at the other end.
And on the floor for the Clippers here in the fourth, Dudley and Griffin, your small and power forwards. Collison is out there with Chris Paul. And it's Jordan in at the 5 down low. And here's Dudley for 3. Rebounded by Granger. Granger's got his 5th rebound in this one. Hill, no good.
Good, tough defense there. Getting a hand up, forcing that miss.
Well, he's got the reputation of being a tough defender, and there was an example right there for you.
And Dudley kicks to Griffin. West is there. 6 on the shot clock. West against Griffin. The shot is off.
Well, the effort was there, but he just couldn't quite fight his way through traffic.
Shoots it up. Pulled the shot a little left, but the bounce goes his way. 16 points for Danny Greenshore.
Boy, they've looked good in the open floor today. That's had a lot to do with their success.
Well, they've been doing the right thing, Steve. Anytime they've had numbers, they've gone straight up court with it right away. Boom.
Los Angeles calls timeout.
Well, if the Pacers wanted to grab the attention of the league with their postseason play, they certainly did that. They marched through the first 2 rounds by knocking off the Hawks and the Knicks. And boy, remember, they were a game away from the NBA Finals.
So Indiana ends up with a new group on the floor. And Los Angeles guys, shooting has been wayward so far. Only 37% from the floor. Ultimately, the Pacers would fall to the Heat, but they put them to the test. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They gained respect league-wide even more than they had going into the playoffs. It took 7 games, Clark, and you saw them all, which a lot of folks didn't see coming.
I know that's the case, and yet the way the Pacers showed such grit in that series, it indicates they can compete with anybody. And when you have a defensive anchor like they do in Roy Hibbert, they've got a chance to be a championship team before long.
Here is Watson. Shot from the wing. Off the left rim and out.
Well, I think he was surprised by how much space he had there and just rushed the shot a little bit.
Right side, Collison. They get a hand on it. And now the fast break. Stevenson.
That's one throwdown there, man.
And the defense just lets him go there.
And once he hit the open floor, there was no looking back. Straight to the rack.
Here's Watson. The feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful.
Oh, I tell you what, nice little run here they're going on.
Now the story is points in the paint, Clark. I mean, they're getting point-blank shots every time down. Well done finishing that one off.
The Pacers have gone 4 of 7 from the field since the beginning of the 4th. Passes to Copeland. He feeds it to Scola. And that's out of bounds. Indiana will retain possession.
15 seconds on the shot clock. 15.
Watson dishes to Stevenson. He passes to Watson. Launches it. Oh, and that one. No question, powered it down.
Sunshine in a bag, I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on. I ain't happy, I'm feeling glad. I got sunshine in a bag, I'm useless, but not for long. The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.